Adventures in Babysitting is a fantastic 1987 comedy film. Now, this is going to be a long review because there is so much trivia about this movie, and there are going to be a lot of spoilers for those who haven't seen it yet. Now, this movie tells the story of 17-year-old Chris Parker, played by Elisabeth Shue, a popular high school senior living in the Chicago suburb of Oak Park, Illinois. Chris is depressed after her boyfriend Mike Todwell, played by actor Bradley Whitford, cancels their fancy weekend date to take care of his sick little sister.
Chicken soup or something?
No, you don't want to be there. She's contagious. I don't want you to get sick.
Contagious? Yeah, that's what he said. He's lying.
She laments her frustrations to her skeptical friend Brenda, played by Penelope Ann Miller, who has problems of her own at home.
My stepmom is such a pain. If I don't get out of the house, I'm gonna spike her tab with Drano.
Chris then agrees to babysit Sarah, an 8-year-old daughter of the Andersons, played by Maia Brewton, while they attend a party in downtown Chicago. Their 15-year-old son Brad, played by Keith Coogan, is a high school freshman who has a massive crush on Chris. Sarah often pokes fun at Brad's romantic fantasies about Chris, while Brad in return makes fun of Sarah's obsession with the Marvel superhero Thor.
You wasted all my Clearasil on another picture of Thor.
Thor's my hero.
Thor's a homo.
Brad is expected to spend the night at the house of his sex-crazed friend Daryl Coopersmith, played by Anthony Rapp, but changes his mind when he discovers that Chris will be babysitting for Sarah.
Chris is here, isn't she?
No.
Yes, she is. That's why I'm sleeping here tonight.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on. Did you get her clothes off yet?
Things soon go awry when Chris receives a call from her friend Brenda, having run away from home, stuck at a bus station without money in dangerous downtown Chicago.
Chris, I'm begging you, it's really scary here. I've just seen 3 people shoot up, a bald Chinese lady with no pants on, and there's this old guy outside who wants his bedroom slippers.
Get out of my house!
You just moved!
With Chris not having money for a cab, Brenda begs Chris to come pick her up. Chris agrees to discreetly take Brad and Sarah on the ride to Chicago to pick up Brenda, and then reluctantly permits Brad's friend Daryl to join them after he overhears their plan.
Now, boys, I swear, if you give me any grief over the next 60 minutes, I swear to God, I'll kill you. Dead. Murdered. Stabbed.
Raped?
I am too old for this crap.
While Daryl shows Brad a Playboy magazine with a centerfold who looks exactly like Chris,
And the kids are safely in their beds.
I'd like to be safely in her bed.
What are you guys doing back there?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing, really.
the tire on her mom's Buick station wagon blows out. Not realizing that the spare tire is in the passenger side compartment, they assume the spare is either missing or on the car already. Chris also realizes that she forgot to bring her purse, and they're without any money. Soon after, they're towed by a crazy guy with a hook for a hand named Handsome John Pruitt, played by John Ford Noonan, who works for Dawson's Garage in downtown. He offers to take them there and pay for their tire. However, when Dawson radios Pruitt and alerts them to his wife's infidelities, Dawson goes on a rampage, which includes shooting a .357 Magnum bullet through Chris's mom's windshield. This begins a series of events that force the kids into a car that is soon stolen by a car thief named Joe Gipp, played by Calvin Levels.
Oh, thanks, mister. You saved our lives.
Chris,
Yeah?
he's a car thief. This is a stolen car.
No.
The chick is losing it.
Taken to a chop shop, they meet 2 criminals, Graydon, played by actor Ron Canada, and the creepy-eyed Bleak, played by character actor John Davis Chandler.
You boosted a caddy full of kids. Hey, they got in the car while I was stealing it, man. I mean, what was I supposed to do? Put them out on the street? They would have been killed.
They know where our operation is. They could go to the cops.
After Daryl snags another Playboy magazine from the chop shop office, the 4 escape onto the streets of Chicago, only to be pursued by Graydon and Bleak.
Gotta get that magazine back. It's got all my notes for the Philadelphia order.
That could put us away for 20 years.
As all of this is happening, Brenda's time at the bus station is turning into a nightmare. Starving and having her glasses stolen by a bum, she has to avoid crazy people and rats as she waits in vain for her friend Chris to pick her up. One of the most memorable scenes of the film comes as the four find themselves on stage in a smoke-filled blues nightclub and are told by guitarist Albert Collins that they cannot leave the club without singing the blues.
Nobody gets out of this place without singing the blues.
What?
Nobody leave this place without singing the blues.
They want me to sing.
Well, do whatever they want. Just get us out of here.
I can't sing.
Another memorable scene is when they end up on a subway train in the middle of a gang fight.
Don't fuck with the lords of hell.
Don't fuck with the babysitter.
Other characters are introduced throughout their adventures, including a friendly college student from the University of Chicago named Dan Lynch, played by actor George Newbern. They meet him at a college frat party while jamming to a band led by singer Southside Johnny.
She's not Shailene.
Wait a minute.
Guys, come on. Think about this. Do you honestly believe a Playboy centerfold would have nothing better to do on a night like this than to show up at a Kappa party with a bunch of kids?
He soon shares his attraction for Chris in front of a heartbroken Brad, while Daryl attempts to get laid by a drunk college girl, played by Lolita Davidovich.
Luann, what the hell are you doing?
Been replaced, you big dumb bohunk.
Oh, you're dead, kid.
I didn't touch her. I'm just a child.
Eventually, they find their way to Dawson's garage and meet Dawson himself, played by actor Vincent D'Onofrio, who Sarah mistakes for the superhero Thor.
It's him, Brad. It's really him. Look, it's Thor.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Don't listen to him anyway. He said you were a homo.
You spreading rumors about me, kid?
Oh, no. No, sir.
Now, this movie goes on and on with so many adventures that by the end of the film, there's this sense of triumph. It's really amazing. The soundtrack is remarkable with hits from the 60s through the 80s, and this movie was Chris Columbus's directorial debut, and it is excellent. He would later go on to direct the iconic Christmas movies Home Alone and Home Alone 2: Lost in New York. Some of the actors in this movie would show up in Home Alone 2, including Ron Canada as a New York City policeman, and Columbus's own wife, Monica Devereaux, as a hooker in this movie.
Cramping my style.
She's too old for you.
And you're not.
Well, I'm his babysitter.
And a Plaza Hotel operator in Home Alone 2.
Yes, sir, you'll need a major credit card upon check-in.
Credit card? You got it.
And of course, we get his trademark, the knocked-over lawn jockey. This movie made a decent amount of money, $34 million at the box office, and Siskel and Ebert had a split decision. Ebert almost liked it, but Siskel gave it a thumbs up.
I think that if you're going to compare Chicago teenage adventure movies, that in the narrow category, I think that this is much more entertaining than Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Close call. A lot of good stuff in this movie, still a thumbs down.
And at first I thought this was going to be just another wild night out, and I don't think it was just another wild out. I think this Elisabeth Shue caught my fancy.
Chris Columbus also added in Thor due to his love of Marvel comic books, at one time hoping to become an artist for Marvel Comics. They tried really hard to get Spider-Man, but they couldn't. So after a while, Marvel said, "Take Thor, do whatever you want with him." And they did. Deborah Hill was a producer on this movie, and she was best known for being a producer on the movies Halloween, Halloween 2, and Escape from New York, as well as having been a script supervisor on Assault on Precinct 13. At one point, you can see a scene from Halloween playing on the Andersons' TV set. Now, this movie was filmed in both Chicago and Toronto in early 1987, and the filmmakers had to add garbage to some scenes in Toronto to make it look more like Chicago. However, Toronto's garbage collection was so efficient that some crew members had to guard the trash to make sure it wasn't taken off the streets. Anthony Rapp's portrayal of the horny friend Daryl is classic, and he had to dye his natural blonde hair red to differentiate himself from actor Anthony Michael Hall.
You gotta be shitting me. Watch your mouth. Watch my mouth? You gotta be shitting me.
This was one of Penelope Ann Miller's first movies, and I think she's great as the cute, naive friend stranded at the bus station. One of her memorable scenes involves her trying to pay a hot dog vendor with a check.
You slip me the cash, and I'll slip you the wiener.
But I don't have any cash.
Then I don't have a wiener.
The vendor improvised the line, "Then I don't have a fucking wiener." The director thought it was hilarious, but the executives told him to take it out of the theatrical release because they already had 2 F-words in the subway scene, one more than they normally allow for a PG-13 movie. Keith Coogan portrays Brad, and he's great. He had a real-life crush on Elisabeth Shue, a bad one, and even asked her out at one point. They went to get dinner during rehearsals, and he mentioned the prospect of the two of them dating despite the 6-year age difference. She turned him down and laughed the exact way she does in the movie. He said his favorite scene of the movie was at the frat party when Elisabeth Shue's character was throwing him guilty looks of, "I know you want me, but I'm older, and I'm gonna be with this guy." And it was really heartbreaking. The crew loved it and said, "Keep doing the puppy dog eyes, the puppy dog look." But he was really pining for her in real life. I love that scene, and it's fascinating to see how the acting was also rooted in real-life pain from Elisabeth Shue's rejection. I think he's great in this role, and he would go on to do another babysitting film, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, 4 years later. Despite portraying a high school kid, Bradley Whitford was actually 28 when this movie came out. He was allowed to use his own Camaro for the film, and the license plate "So Cool" was his real license plate. He and Elisabeth Shue actually dated after filming. The casting process for the role of Chris Parker was insane. Paramount Pictures only wanted to do the film if Molly Ringwald starred in it. Molly Ringwald declined. For a while, different scenarios were thrown around. Maybe an older babysitter, Bette Midler, Cher. Eventually, Disney's Touchstone Pictures took the movie, and everything came into place. A ton of different actresses in their 20s and even in their 30s were considered for the role. Kathleen Turner, Tatum O'Neal, Andie MacDowell, Brooke Shields. Sharon Stone auditioned. Keith Coogan got to screen test with several beautiful actresses. Jamie Gertz screen tested. He screen tested with Phoebe Cates and got to go have dinner with her at Sizzler. Julia Louis-Dreyfus auditioned, but then left in favor of Jodie Foster. Foster withdrew. So then there were 4 actresses left. Elisabeth Shue, best known for The Karate Kid. Justine Bateman, best known for Family Ties. Michelle Pfeiffer, best known for Grease 2 and Scarface. And Valerie Bertinelli, best known for her role on the sitcom One Day at a Time. Bateman opted out, and then Michelle Pfeiffer left to go make The Witches of Eastwick. That left just Elisabeth Shue and Valerie Bertinelli. After many, many auditions, the filmmakers said that Valerie Bertinelli's version of Chris Parker was coming across too angry. They chose Elisabeth Shue, and the rest is 80s movie history. The Playboy pictures in the movie are real photos of Elisabeth Shue that were actually taken at the Playboy Mansion. She flew from Toronto to Los Angeles to the Playboy Mansion to take the non-nude photos for the Playboy prop, which she still owns to this day. Interesting movie tidbit, this is one of 2 films where Elisabeth Shue plays a character with the last name Parker. In this movie, she plays Chris Parker, and in Back to the Future Part 2 and 3, she plays Marty McFly's girlfriend Jennifer Parker. In both movies, she utters the same line.
I had the worst nightmare. I had the worst nightmare.
Maia Brewton, who plays Sarah Anderson, also had a role in Back to the Future, playing Marty McFly's future aunt. This was one of the first films I ever saw in my life. I actually remember for years I had a VHS tape that we recorded off of a USA Network broadcast from like 1992. I've seen it more times than I can count, probably in my top 10 favorites of all time. It is fantastic, and it's a movie I can watch again and again and never get tired of, because it makes me happy.
I'd just like to say thanks for giving me what was probably the greatest night of my life. So far. Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
I highly recommend Adventures in Babysitting.